Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Sethum and welcome back to another video guide for Conan Exiles. Today in this video, folks, I'm going to show you the changes coming to the fish traps. Currently, I am on the test live server. Now, in the past, the fish traps just work without anything in them. You just put them in the water and you got your fish. Things have changed. You now have to put bait in them. So as you can see, I've got set up a bunch of fish traps as well as shellfish traps right here. So I'm just going to kind of show you. This is going to be a little demonstration as well. I'm going to talk about the types of bait that you can use and what to expect from them. Over here in the preservation box, I've got the bait that works and something that I think should work. So you'll want to use the handful of bugs, the grub, the bees, and the queen bees. And this right here is not something that actually works in terms of putting bait in your traps. I'm going to go with the handful of bugs or insects. And I'm going to set them up here, and I'm going to talk to you about how these work. So basically, we're going to do a stack of 100 of each. We're going to see what we're going to get by the end of the video. Ideally, I would like to try and wait for all of them. Now, as you can see, the handful of insects and the fat grub does, of course, unfortunately have a spoil timer, so I might not necessarily wait until they're all consumed. It does seem to behave and act like a crafting station nowadays, so I'm going to take all of these grubs, put 100 of them in each of the traps, and then I'm going to show you that I'm not even going to be able to pronounce that the cochineal, I probably butchered that name so badly right now. That does not work. I think it should do because it is still an insect, so maybe it should have some value in terms of what you get. It is rarer than all of the other things that we're putting in, so maybe it should have a higher value for what it gives in terms of the types of fish. Now, we're going to do the bees and queen bees. These are quite important because they have a better chance of getting us some really interesting results. Now, I am setting these things up here. We're going to go with, as I said, a stack of 100 for each of them. Might as well put the queen bees in here. So this is also a little demonstration. I've also got a chart that I've come up with numbers and percentages for what you can expect to get. And then this one we'll put the queen bees. So we got the grub there. We're going to put the normal bees in here. And then in here, we're going to put the queen bees. And the same thing we're going to do on this end right here. So this is the improved shellfish trap. So I'm going to show you both the fish traps, both of the fish trap and improved fish trap, as well as the shellfish trap and the improved shellfish trap. That's quite a handful to remember. So put this guy in here, nothing happens. As you can see with the other ones, the moment you put your bait in there, it starts crafting. It gives you a timer for what you're gonna get potentially, whereas with these, I forgot where I put it, right there, you don't really get anything, which is kind of sad to see. They should be added into the traps. It is a bug at the end of the day. Maybe fish don't like this bug, I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna pick these up. We don't need them here. These were just for demonstration purposes, so put these back into my inventory, so that way we know what we have running for us. Now let's talk about the percentages. So I'm going to start with the normal fish traps, then move on to the improved fish traps, and the same thing for the shellfish traps, and then we'll talk through the different types of bait. We're going to start with the first one. This is the normal fish trap, and with the handful of insects, you have a 50% chance of getting the unappetizing fish, a 30% chance of getting the savory fish, and a 20% chance of getting the exotic fish. So that is it for the fish trap. We're going to move on to the grub. With the grub, you have a 30% chance of getting the unappetizing fish, a 50% chance of getting the savory fish, and a 20% chance of getting the exotic fish. With the bee, you have a 40% chance of getting the unappetizing fish, a 30% chance of getting the savory fish, and 30% chance of getting the exotic fish. With the queen bee, 10% chance for the unappetizing fish and savory fish, and then a 80% chance for the exotic fish. With the improved trap, if you put in a handful of insects, you will have a 30% chance of getting the unappetizing fish, a 30% chance of getting the savory fish, and a 30% chance of getting the exotic fish, with a 10% chance of getting rare fish. So that is for the improved traps. Now, with the grub, you will have a 20% chance of getting the unappetizing fish, a 35% chance of getting the savory fish, a 35% chance of getting the exotic fish, and a 10% chance of getting the rare fish. So that is for the grub. We're going to go on to the bee. If you put in the bee, you will have a 10% chance of getting the unappetizing fish, a 30% chance of getting the savory fish, a 15% chance of getting the exotic fish, and a 10% chance to get the rare fish. And finally, with the queen bee, you have a 0% chance of getting both the unappetizing fish as well as the savory fish, and you have a 90% chance of getting the exotic fish, with a 10% chance to get the rare fish. Onto the shellfish trap. If you put in the handful of insects, you have a 50% chance of getting the unappetizing shellfish, a 30% chance of getting the savory shellfish, and a 20% chance of getting the exotic shellfish. So that is for the simple shellfish trap. I just wanted to show you that they do have spoil timers as well in there. That's quite important. If you put in the grub, you will have a 30% chance of getting the unappetizing shellfish, a 50% chance of getting the savory shellfish. This is quite difficult to pronounce. And finally, a 20% chance of getting the exotic shellfish from the normal shellfish trap. So that is for the shellfish trap. Here we're going to move on to the bee, which is the next thing. And with the bee, you have a 40% chance of getting the unappetizing shellfish, and a 30% chance of getting the savory shellfish, and finally a 30% chance of getting the exotic shellfish. With the queen bee, you have a 10% chance of getting the unsavory shellfish, and a 10% chance of getting the savory shellfish, and finally a 80% chance of getting the exotic shellfish from the trap. I'm going to move on to the improved shellfish trap, and with a handful of insects, you get a 30% chance of getting the unappetizing shellfish, a 40% chance of getting the savory shellfish, and a 40% chance of getting the exotic shellfish. With the grub, you have a 20% chance of getting the unappetizing shellfish, a 35% chance of getting the savory shellfish, and a 45% chance of getting the exotic shellfish from the grub. With the normal bee, you have a 10% chance of getting the unsavory shellfish, a 30% chance of getting the savory shellfish, and a 60% chance to get the exotic shellfish. And finally, the queen bee, you will have a 0% chance to get the unsavory shellfish and the the unappetizing shellfish and the savory shellfish, and 100% chance of getting the exotic shellfish. So it's been a bit of time. I did go through the statistics. Let's have a look. We have gone through about, I'd say, 30 to 35 of the baits on each of the traps. I decided to not wait it out because, well, the fish have a spoil timer, as do some of the bait, so it wouldn't really be very conclusive, and the spoil timer is active even when they are in the trap. I'm just going to show you, compared to the numbers that I gave you before, what I got or what I'm getting so far. So as you can see, we've got quite a bit of exotic fish in these right there. So I just want to show you the spoil timers. They do spoil really quickly. So it's been about 30 minutes or more since I put in the fish, put in the bait for the fish, and I just kind of want to show you what I'm getting compared to the numbers that I told you before. So here we got the savory and appetizing shellfish and the exotic shellfish, which is basically the lobster. We put in the grub. This is what I got from the grub. The shellfish trap right here with the bee, and finally the queen bee right here. So we did get a decent amount of the exotic shellfish. This is the normal shellfish trap, by the way. Now we're going to move on to the improved shellfish trap, and we're going to have a look at what I got from all of the different types of bait that I put in. And as you'll see, the queen bee does actually yield 100% exotic shellfish from the improved shellfish trap. Now, let's talk about a couple of changes to the fluid press. There are some changes here as well. So we're going to put in various types of fish. If we put in the stack of 50, as you can see, it will take up a total of 10 of the unappetizing fish to craft 1 oil. We're going to go with the savory fish. You'll see that there are some changes here with the amount of types of fish that you can put in for the oil. So that is where the change is. Now if we put in the stack of 50 savory fish, as you can see, it consumed 5, and we're getting 1 oil out of it, is what I meant to say. And finally, if we put in the exotic fish, you'll see that there's also a difference there. Now, it does make sense. It was a bit different before, so this is something to point out. We've put in the exotic fish. We basically get a 1-to-1 ratio. 1 fish equals 1 oil. So these are the changes that have come or will be coming to the game once it gets past the test live servers. I'm just going to dump all of these in here and might as well craft me some oil. That is pretty much it for this video, folks. I do hope that you have enjoyed it and found it useful and informative. If you have, please don't forget to support me on the channel by hitting that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already for more similar content from myself. And if you have just subscribed, why not check out some of my other videos and guides here on this channel. Who knows, you might just enjoy them. And don't forget to hit that bell icon so they get notified when I upload new videos and content to the channel. Also, for those interested, you can always find me on the Sethtopia Discord. Links to this, of course, you can find down below in the video's description. And until next time, stay safe, folks.